good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It's your buddy William Penn, president of Grand Boulevard Coalition. And I know you guys who are faithful watchers of this channel just saw this man in a wonderful AARP show that he puts on weekly. I only strive to get up to his level of expertise on the air. But I kept him over because I wanted to discuss something that you know I'm working on, which is the 2020 census. And this gentleman here might not speak for AARP, the other side, but from the foundation side and from just being an African-American man in the community could have some very profound words to say. So without any further ado.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. And I just want to say that the AARP is a huge enterprise. And we collectively support and encourage everyone to participate in the census. What that does is that drives money into our communities. So if you've got kids that are in your house from Monday through Friday, then those are your kids. And we encourage our folks in the community to get everybody to fill that census out. In about a week or so, I think about March 1st, you're going to get a packet in the mail.
Yes.
And we encourage you to fill that packet out, and then you've got to mail it. You've got to call everybody that you know and encourage them to fill that census out. Because what happens is that if we don't get an accurate count, we lose money. You lose money. Your community lose money. Your school loses money. So it's all about the dollars, or as they say, the Benjamins. So filling that census out is just so very important. And we at AARP and the foundation, we encourage everyone to participate, to fill it out, and understand the real value in that. It's about the money. At the end of the day, we need more money to have more resources in our community. Your aldermen are counting on you. They've got more streets that need to be paved. Your teachers are counting because they've got more schools that need to stay open. And this money comes from the census. So please, 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 please take the time to fill that out and mail it, and encourage everyone that you know to participate in this census.
Right. And before I let you go, and thank you, that's exactly what I wanted to hear from you and how we'll partner on that going forward. Your foundation, I catch some of your show, but I'm driving here to do my show.
Okay.
And I just wanted to know what Grand Boulevard Coalition or the Grand Boulevard area around the campus of Illinois Tech, what can we do in that area to support what your AARP foundation?
I'm familiar with the Grand Boulevard organization. In fact, what we're looking for, and we could probably partner on, is that we recruit those that are 50 and over to be volunteer tutors and mentors for kindergartners, first graders, second graders, and third graders in the Chicago Public Schools. And we're in 30 schools. And if I'm not mistaken, we might be in some of those schools over there in Inglewood. Well, I know we are in Inglewood and Lawndale. And Grand Boulevard runs through Inglewood. So maybe we can identify some opportunities to invite some folks out, to give them information about why it's important to volunteer.
Yeah.
And for those seniors who have had wonderful jobs, who've raised wonderful families and find themselves in a place where they feel they're not needed, they are needed. You are needed. We need you. Our children need you. And third grade reading scores have been the best indication of how well a student will do or will not do. And the emotional support that our volunteers bring changes that playing field. So I would love to sit down with you and further and see how we can collaborate.
Sounds good to me. Okay. Sounds good to me. Let me show this overhead. There you go. So as we were talking, how I'll be starting my shows for a while. United States Census 2020, our village counts, and that's exactly what what we want people to know, that we have to get counted, our village count. It takes a village. Everything my friend just talked about is very important. And we're back, and somehow he disappeared. I don't know. Hey, he's like magic. It must be that green screen that you don't even see. Anyway, guys, how you guys doing? Oh, my God, it's so cold. It has been such a busy week. We're having technical difficulties here, so try to call in. Tell me what you think of my guest who just came and talked to us about AARP Foundation and how people who are 50, I think he said 50, but be on the safe side, 55 and older, can help in reading and mentoring our students back in the schools. And if once I free up some time, I'll definitely be one of those people because I'm up in that 50 age range where I can do stuff like that. Okay, you guys. So as you know, Grand Boulevard Coalition, we always talking about a drug-free community. We've had this week, actually on Tuesday, we got to partner with our good friends down at Diet High School. We decided to talk to the athletes. The athletes are one of the few. A lot of people say, "Oh, the star athletes, they get everything," but there's a lot of more. There's a whole team. There's a whole hundreds and hundreds of students that are athletes in all the sports. We went down there. We took a young man graduated from Fenger, went on to Northern Illinois for college, played football over 4 years. It was back in the day when Northern was actually good, and they won a couple of their bowl games, so he got a chance to show off his big ring for winning a title, and how he took all that and how a couple of missteps or mishaps led him to a professional career. He didn't continue on to a professional football player, but he continued on in life, of course, and he continued on being very successful, getting his degree, and now he's the area general manager for one of the largest rental car fleets, and he's stationed out of Springfield. And we called him up, and he said, "Sure, I'll come in and talk." So he drove up that morning and spent a couple of hours with the youth and the athletic youth of Diet High School and discussed what it takes to go from grade school to high school athletics, what it goes from high school to college, and for that, as we all know, that very small select few, what's the jump to the next level, which is professional or getting paid for the sport that you love. So it was a fun time for all. That's part of our athletics, our excellent series that we at Grand Boulevard Coalition doing. We've tested out as a pilot with Diet this year, and we've already have 2 more schools that's wanting for us to add that on to their program for next year. And as you know, it's a 3-part series. We go in first, we do a survey. Let's see what all freshmen through seniors know about what it takes to get to the next level, what it takes to be a leader, and what it takes to be a part of a drug-free community, and how our bodies are a temple and how we take care of and get them ready for action. Part 2, we bring in somebody who made that leap from high school to college and actually played in college and actually was very successful in college. And then part 3, which we'll be bringing back next month, we'll actually bring a professional athlete in. We have a couple of old retired Chicago Bears players, a couple of Chicago Bulls players that are still in the community, that are still reaching out and doing stuff. And they come in and say what it was like for them to get drafted or go undrafted, and what it took for them to get to the next level, play at the next level for a few years, and then what they're doing with their lives since sports. It's because a lot of time these youth don't see the other side of what they're doing with sports. I mean, fortunately, we got to, nowadays, because of technology, we got to live through the life of what LeBron James did with all the money he has. He started a school. What Kobe Bryant did with some of his money, what he started a camp, and how successful their lives are afterwards. And we don't, we talk about those 2 right now, but how athletes in general, one of the people that we work with, he's a successful trainer. He actually trained high school students to prepare them for college sports from the training aspect of it. So it's a great program. Look forward to keeping that going and keeping what we got going on with that. The next thing we got going on, we also work with this upcoming week. We will be back in the community. We'll be at John J. Persian Magnet Grade School, which is the only A+ or A school, whatever their grading system in the Bronzeville area. We will be with the 8th graders on Tuesday discussing what they have to do to get themselves ready for high school. And not from an athletic perspective, but just in life, how they go from being, now they're at the top of the heap, they're the 8th graders, they walk around with some swag and they act like they just know everything, to less than 6 months, they'll be the freshmen, they'll be at the bottom of the barrel. They'll be made fun of, some of them, and they have to adapt to how being with a group of friends for so many years. Now some are going to different high schools where they might not have any friends. They might just be on their own at that school, and what it takes for them to be successful, and who within those schools, and how they can actually, we want them to reach back to their grade school, to their principal, their assistant principal, and some of the teachers and counselors that help them to get to where they are, to keep those channels of communications open, so if they need help from any level, that's there for them. So those are some of the good things that we're doing in the community. We also will have our coffee with GBC this upcoming Tuesday from 8:30 to 9:30 at Michi, which is off the corner of 35th and Prairie, catty-corner to the McDonald's. We'll be there again, having coffee and pastries and just having a general conversation. News that you can use is what we say. So we look forward to that. We will be posting that this weekend and throughout the next couple of days on our Facebook page. It's not something that we look to have 20, 30, 40 people at. 10, 15 people is usually enough. It's a small space, but it's a cozy space. The coffee is good, the pastry is good, and usually the conversation good. We kicked it off in January. We had close to 15 people at our first one. We had a good conversation. It actually lasted way past 9:30. But we wanted people who are in the community at Illinois Tech, at the police station, and the alderman's office who are in the area just before they go to work to grab a cup of coffee while they're on their way, have a quick little conversation, pick up some information on the drug-free community, and then push on to have a very successful and prosperous day. So those are all the events that we got coming up next week to finish out this wonderful short month of February, Black History Month. We're hoping that everybody remember that it was Black History Month and that it did some good things around that. There has been a lot of entertainment, a lot of educational things and movies and so on and so forth that was out there this month for us to capture and to relive some of the true history of what African Americans have accomplished here in America. And I'm being reminded, or just reminded, that we also had the NBA All-Star Weekend here in Chicago. And that was a very successful weekend from everybody who I've talked to, and not from the standpoint of the game and the players that were in town and all the parties and stuff like that. We don't care about that stuff. But what they did, when they got, a lot of the players, especially the Chicago-born players, went back to their grade schools and high school and talked to the students. They raised money and funds to help programming and for Chicago Boys and Girls Club and several other non-for-profits. So all in all, for the non-for-profit community as a whole, having something like this in town, highlight a lot of the programs that we're doing, highlight more money to feed into these programs, and it gives our youth some aspiration to some of the people that they look up to be able to say, wow, I can't wait till I get to that level and be able to give back. And we were just very happy and very proud of that was going on. So one of the things that we have coming up, actually, you guys are probably saying, William, why are you all dressed up? Well, tonight is the Chicago Area Project annual awards reception at Malcolm X College, and I got invited to go to it. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to sprout out some good words about the census and meet and greet with some good people and try to raise more awareness of our drug-free community and raise more awareness of what we're doing so we can get more funding for the things that we're doing within our community and how we can spread our borders so we can bring more youth into the fold and work with them. So that's going to be tonight. It's at Malcolm X. It's never too late to get a ticket. I think it's $50 to help support Chicago Area Project. Their organization has been around since 1934, and their motto is strengthening neighborhoods, helping young people. And that works right in hand with what Grand Boulevard Coalition in us having a drug-free community, but keeping our youth clean and giving them the tools and the education so where they're able to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So I'm heading out the door for that in a couple of minutes, but I just want to let everybody know that that's happening, and they should check out Chicago Area Project on their website and see how they can maybe donate or give a few pennies to help out what they're doing, because they've been doing it for 86 years, and anything that's been happening for 86 years must be pretty good, that they continue to build sustainable communities. And one of the things that we like to talk about here each week about sustainable communities is the importance of giving back, the importance of being a part of your community. For so long in the black community, we were blessed to grow up, get a good education, and as soon as we graduate, it's seeing us coming back to the community and bringing all that wonderful things to help grow and nurture and keep it going. We move away, or we move to the suburbs, or we move somewhere else. And I think you're beginning to see a turn where now we're graduating, we're coming back to the community, we're buying homes, we're building up our communities. And I know the communities I work in, they're building up real quick, real fast. And I guess the word they use is gentrification. It's happening in the Grand Boulevard area, but it's happening with both sides. We're not only getting new people coming into the community, we're getting new African-American families and couples and coming back into the community, bringing their children, wanting to raise their kids back here in the city. And as we know, no matter where you live in the city, a lot of people always said, no, I don't want to raise my kid in the city. I want to go to the suburb where maybe it's a little safer and where I can have a backyard and a front yard and my kids can run around and play, which we know today kids don't run around and play, so you don't need to have a yard. You got to do is have an Xbox and you're good to go. And was a joke, but it's just really happy how things are turning around and how we support the different things that are happening in the community, which is why when we do our coffee with GBC, we make sure it's in the Grand Boulevard area, and we have them at the different coffee houses. We went from none to probably 5 that I know of right now that we'll be circling around doing our coffee talk. All of them are African American owned, and all of them are wonderful cups of coffee. And we just support our businesses, and that's a good way to support them by once a month going in there and having our meetings and stuff and kind of bringing things back to the community versus going downtown or going somewhere else to have our meetings and our talks and so on and so forth. So we'll continue to do those things, and we'll continue to do our good work on the campus of Illinois Tech. In the tower there, we'll be having our opioid summit coming up in March. We have a wonderful panel that's being put together as we speak. I was listening in on a conference call today talking about it, and it seemed like it's going to be pretty good. So once the flyer and everything gets ready for that, I'll definitely pull that information and make sure that we will do that. So I was trying to go to overhead. We're having technical difficulties, so I might not be able to go to an overhead. But if we do, I'm just going to do one last overhead, and then I won't do no more after this one. But I always like to say hello and thanks to our sponsor, one of our other sponsors, the Ann and Robert H. Laurie Children's Hospital of Chicago, and the great I Got This campaign. I know people have been on the Facebook page and have been talking about the I Got This campaign, and it's just 5 tips for teaching our teams about non-use of alcohol. So we want to make sure that we continue to support that campaign and continue to support Laurie's Children's Hospital and make sure that we are teaching our youth, don't feel pressure to drink. It's okay to say no. Like I said last week, it's amazing when a baby turns 2, that's the first word outside of mama and dad is no, and they know how to shake their head that they don't want it and they don't want to do it. And then 10 years later, they don't know how to say no, and now they're doing, because of peer pressure, drinking or maybe doing drugs or vaping or any of the things that we know that is not good for them to be doing. So we want to make sure that they know that saying no is cool. And we want to make sure that people know that if they have any questions or need some thoughts or help on how to talk to their youth, they can go to the hashtag I Got This Chicago, and they'll find wonderful questions and how to go about having a good conversation with their youth about alcohol drinking. Let's see what else is on the table today. Oh, yes. We're also going to have in a couple of weeks Cook County State's Attorney Office community engagement. We're looking at having one of the lawyers who are part of the Cook County State's Attorney Office to come in and talk to us about things that might be concerning us within our community. Expungement has been a lot of conversation lately with people having records expunged. Of course, you have to meet the criteria for that, but a lot of people are lost and confused about what are the criteria for the different ways of being expunged. And sometimes I think they go from the criminal aspect of expungement. I mean, obviously, people maybe had one misstep and had to do some time within one of the prisons, whatever level of prison. But on the other hand, it could be, we were out protesting, we got arrested. It goes on your record, but it might get thrown out because you was a peaceful protester. You just got arrested. You might become a future whatever, lawyer or whatever, and that might be on your record. You might want something like that expunged from your record. So there are different things that we need to definitely talk about from the expungement perspective that deal with everybody in their everyday life. So we look forward to having somebody from the Cook County State's Attorney Office in the next couple of weeks coming to talk to us about that. And we will definitely let people know in advance on our website, so when time comes, if you have questions, you can definitely email them or text them to us up front, and then we make sure we ask those questions. And on the back end, of course, we always live. When we're live, dialing 312-738-1060 is always a good thing to do. Another thing that we got going on, we got the big, next month, we're going to do the Noxidil. Hopefully I'm saying it correctly, training at IIT or Illinois Tech, where we're having our friends from CRCC to come out and teach a class. We're looking for youth 18 and over who is interested in learning more about being first responders. As you know, we're putting together our pilot program for first responders, youth first responders for the summer as part of the Safe Neighborhoods program that goes on each summer. And so we're definitely putting a call out for youth in the South Side corridor from Grand Boulevard all the way down the South Shore. Looking between 10 to 15 youth who be interested in getting training on the Noxidil, training on breathing if somebody's choking, training on spotting something that might be out of place or wrong, so where they're able to be the first to know how to call. We all know how to call 911, but a lot of times we don't know how to say it and how to put it in words. We see every day on the news how somebody tried to call and they couldn't give the address. They couldn't give correct information, which unfortunately delay the proper response to a situation. So this day and age, being educated on everything is something that a lot of people should have to learn and do. But we're also looking for those youth who even want to just be out there in the community. When there's an event going on, we'll make sure they're around. So if something happened, they can see it, they can say something, they know how to call. And now they're giving me the wrap up. And I just got warmed up and I'm just going. But I'm in my last minute, so I just want to thank everybody again. The show was real good. I'd like to thank my guest who was here from AARP Foundation and the very thoughtful words that he put out there about how doing your census 2020 is going to help bring the community as a whole together and bring more funding back into our community. I also would like to thank Anna Laurie Children's Hospital that I got this campaign for continued support and training of our youth and of myself in learning more on how to be proactive. Until next Thursday, please be safe, drink your water, and make sure you say hello to people as they walk by you in the morning. Thank you.